China may manufacture and export everything from needles to cars across the world. But there is still one thing it lacks, something only America has. On the 2nd of April, 2025, American President Donald Trump appeared before the media at the White House holding a very large red card. On this red card were written the names of several countries and the tariff rates imposed on them. President Trump read out the rates one by one. And with that, a wave of fear spread across the world. Stock markets, including America's, crashed because this was a clear signal of a huge war. A war where the weapon would be power and the ammunition, money. Yes, we can call it a trade war or even a tariff war. Donald Trump had made a move so indirect, yet so powerful, that it could bring the world's strongest trading nation, China, down to its knees. If this trade war breaks out, the question is, who will dominate? China or America? Welcome once again to iFlare Videos. To understand this matter clearly, let's first understand what a tariff actually is. Most people think tariffs are simply taxes imposed on other countries. But in reality, tariffs are a kind of import duty that applies only to products being imported into America. For example, if America imposes a 26% tariff on India, that means every product imported from India will face an additional 26% tax in America. Similarly, according to Trump's list, Pakistan was hit with a 29% tariff, and at the top of the list was China, with a massive 34% tariff. Now, imposing tariffs or import duties is not something unusual. In fact, looking at the same list, India has already imposed 52% on American products, Pakistan 58%, and China as high as 67%. The real purpose of tariffs is not just to earn money from imported products, but to protect local industries. Take, for instance, Harley-Davidson, America's premium motorcycle brand. When these bikes enter India, the Indian government imposes a 100% tax. Suppose a Harley-Davidson model costs 1.5 lakh rupees. If there were no import tax, it would be sold at nearly the same price as India's local Royal Enfield. So when customers see both bikes at the same price, naturally they would prefer the American brand. This would hurt India's local motorcycle industry. That's why import duties are deliberately used to make foreign products more expensive. This has multiple benefits. First, local industries continue to survive. Second, foreign exchange is saved. Because importing American bikes means dollars must eventually be sent to the U.S., reducing India's foreign currency reserves. Now, since tariffs have been imposed by America, it means products from other countries will become costlier in the U.S. Their sales will fall, and people will prefer to buy locally manufactured goods instead. For example, textiles from India and Pakistan are sold in American markets. But textiles can also be manufactured within America. With added tariffs, the textile industries of India and Pakistan will definitely suffer. But the country most affected by Trump's tariffs is China. In fact, many say China was Trump's real target all along. Here's why. Until the year 2000, America's products were sold all over the world. The very status China holds today once belonged to America. But with time, not just America, but nearly the whole world business was captured by China. From the smallest to the biggest items, everything is now produced in China and exported globally. Thanks to cheap labor, China produces goods at such low cost that they can easily compete with international prices. Globally, China has overshadowed almost every market with its products. Local industries in many countries are collapsing. If we look at U.S. China trade alone, in 2000, America imported $80 billion worth of goods from China, while China imported only $4 billion worth from America. But by 2025, the situation has changed dramatically. Every year, America now imports goods worth $440 billion from China, while China imports only $145 billion from America. Trump argues this trade should be equal. If we buy $440 billion from China, then China should also buy the same from us. But there's a gap of $295 billion. This gap is what we call the trade deficit. To reduce this trade deficit, Trump targeted China. As a result, product from China, especially smartphones, will become far more expensive in America. And among those smartphones, Apple iPhones stand out. Though an American product, they are actually manufactured in China. When these products become expensive to import, industries will be forced to shift production back to America. This is exactly what Trump wants, but China doesn't. Just consider, almost every Apple product from iPhones to Apple Watches is made in China. Tesla cars, Dell and HP laptops, Nike and Skechers shoes, LG and GP accessories, Black & Decker and Stanley tools, and even toys from Mattel and Hasbro, all manufactured in China. If these companies shut down their Chinese plants and return to America, the U.S. would reduce imports from China by nearly $200 billion annually. The trade deficit would shrink from $295 billion down to around $80 to $90 billion. But here's the catch. Production costs in America are much higher. So these products would become more expensive, and in the end, these very companies would suffer losses. Still, it seems Trump is determined to break China's monopoly, no matter the cost. China, on the other hand, refuses to back down. When Trump raised tariffs on Chinese goods, China retaliated by imposing even more tariffs on American products. And now, this standoff has taken the shape of a full-scale trade war. Neither China's president is stepping back, nor does Trump show any sign of retreat. Both countries have imposed such heavy tariffs that something worth $10 now costs double when imported. The same situation exists in China as well. The question is, which of these powers holds the upper hand? In this trade war, whoever survives longer wins. If we see closely, America mostly imports tech items from China: mobiles, laptops, electronics, toys. Even if imports stop for a while, it won't impact America as much. Or if they import from elsewhere, it may just cost a little more. But China imports from America something it cannot live without. And in the coming months, this could be China's biggest problem. Let's see. China's population is 1.41 billion, over 315% more than America's. To feed such a large population, food supplies must be massive. The most basic items, wheat and rice. But the problem is, only 13% of China's land is suitable for agriculture. That's just 0.23 acres per citizen. Most of this land is used to grow wheat and rice to avoid importing basics. But that's just for staple food. China consumes pork at the highest rate in the world. In fact, it has the largest pig farming industry globally. By 2024, China had over 400 million pigs, more than America's human population. Naturally, these pigs need feed. They're given corn for sugar and soybeans for protein. The feed mix is about 60% corn and 40% soybeans. China produces 80% of its corn, importing the remaining 20% from Ukraine. But soybeans are different. They can only be imported from America and Brazil. Every year, China imports 50 million tons of soybeans from America to feed its pigs. And it's difficult to source soybeans elsewhere because soybean crops don't give farmers much profit. From 1 acre, only 1,500 kilograms of soybeans can be harvested, compared to 6,000 kilograms of corn. Soybeans need large areas of free farmland, something America has plenty of. With low population and vast land, each American has over 1.25 acres, 400% more than a Chinese citizen. This allows America not only to meet its own food needs, but also to export soybeans to China. China has already tried alternatives, like canola seeds, which are cheaper but less digestible, meaning more feed is needed, costing more overall. They also tried peanuts and sunflower meals, but these lack enough protein, requiring costly supplements. Recently, China has been experimenting with insect farming to feed pigs with insects as a protein source. But this is still in testing phases. Beyond that, China is a trade surplus country. It produces more than it consumes, and survival depends on selling product abroad. The risk of a trade surplus economy is they have a lot to lose. America, on the other hand, is a consumer market with many alternatives. If not from China, it can buy from somewhere else. Even during his previous tenure, Trump imposed tariffs on China. And it was clear back then, China was losing ground. This time, expectations are no different. Trump has all the cards to blackmail China, and China knows it. While producing this video, fresh news arrived. Trump has suspended tariffs on all other countries for 90 days, but raised tariffs on China to a staggering 125%. This proves these tariffs were always aimed at China. What do you think about this matter? Tell me in the comments section below. And as always, don't forget to like and share this iFlare video. We'll meet again in the next thrilling episode.